the ocean, to never know a simple day without a big commotion. It can't be healthy just to live with such a steep emotion, and when I try and sleep, I see coffins closing. The pirate situation in Somalia has been massive in the media, you know what I mean, New York Times front page, that sort of thing, but it never really, it's so interesting to me that it's never really discussed in the way Somalis discuss it. So whenever, I mean, because we are the issue that people are talking about, and whenever Somalis get together and talk about pirates, the pirate scenario, that we talk about them as if they're coast guards of the country. We don't talk about them as this evil kind of group that's disturbing European trade, which we don't really care about too much. It's like European trade is fine as long as it doesn't. As long as we get respected in our waters and our territories. Our territory and waters has not been respected by the international community for a very long time. There's been mass illegal fishing from foreign vessels that are coming into the country and just taking the resources of the Somali people. But also even more sinister is that there's foreign vessels coming in and dumping nuclear toxic waste into our shores. And
this is the other side of the story. This is what they don't tell you on CNN.
They can't, because it would implicate a lot of their legitimate companies that exist here are not so legitimate when they go to places with illegitimate governments. You know, they start to behave. You know, they lose their charm when they get over there.
So that's a very accurate description. So you are the Coast Guards, and this makes perfect sense. I mean, you know, for a while I was a little concerned, that maybe I shouldn't be, taking my luxury liner boat over there. But now I didn't realize that when they were driving by the Horn of Africa, passing near Somalia, it wasn't to show us your beautiful country. It was to dump the waste and then go back.
Yeah, and it's incredible that how crazy that is to dump nuclear toxic waste on people's shores, because especially we're on the Indian Ocean, and Somalia has the largest coastal running line in Africa, and so it's completely unprotectable, this area. And so what they've been doing is, for a long time, the mobsters that used to be in New York in the fishing industry, a lot of those guys went into the nuclear toxic waste business, which sometimes is legitimate and sometimes very, very illegitimate. And so they've been dumping these containers. The thing is, if you dump, there's ways to properly package this stuff and get rid of it and put it in the water and all of this. And if you do that, usually you do it in cold waters. But the Indian Ocean is warm water, where it would have taken in the cold water for a container to open up and break apart over 1,000 years. In Somalia, in the Indian Ocean, it would take just about 100 years to open up. So we're looking and facing an environmental disaster affecting the entire region of Eastern Africa, the home of the world's birthplace, basically, and that this could have major consequences on the environment and the human lives for generations to come. And you mean to tell me that the U.S. and the Europeans are sending all their navy power to stop the pirates that we see as those who are stopping that criminal activity? That's kind of the problem.
We've been talking a lot here in the U.S. about green jobs and the green economy. I'll just toss this out here again. It seems like that's a pretty green act that the green movement should get behind. And I'm wondering if more people in the green movement that is running around demanding that Japan stop harpooning whales, and other folks that are trying to save the polar bears see, saving the Somali coastline and all the resources there in the same light.
Yeah, well, it's very interesting, because the fact is that this has gone all the way to the UN the UN Security Council. It's gotten high up. This issue of Somali, the nuclear toxic waste being dumped in Somalia, and then completely vetoed and thrown away by major powers, and forgotten about, and kind of just shoved under a rock.
Which major powers? Can you name a couple so we can keep them on tap?
Yeah, I think France and the U.S. had both interest in vetoing this issue, and of course France is in the waters, the Navy's there. I mean, it's a major problem, and I think what's really the sad thing about Somalia and Africa in general, when it comes to these kind of progressive movements you have here in the West and in the U.S., such as the green movement, the environmental culture, and so on, that it's once it's black, green really doesn't matter so much anymore.
You know, wow, this is incredible. I think we're just going to have to take a break with a song, and I want people to marinate on that, because marinate on a couple of things. How distorting the news has been to make it seem like there was a bunch of uncontrolled barbarians running around, just attacking luxury liners. And I guess they didn't tell the story that you all weren't really killing people. You were holding them and basically make...
Not one death caused by these pirates, not one injury. In fact, they have such rules, such strict rules, guidelines, these pirate groups, that if you verbally assault a captive, that there is a percentage cut off your pay, your future pay.